Good morning.
Good morning, Steph.
Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get the presentation started. My name is Dr. Laura Ballard, and this is my colleague Jorge Rivera. We're from the Center for Applied Linguistics, and we're going to tell you a little bit about the CalTest platform, which is a new software program that we have been developing and is still in development. This is a testing platform that we have been using and plan to use in many of our oral language assessments. So to tell you a bit about the CalTest platform, this is a software program used to administer a variety of oral language assessments. The key uses that we are currently working with are to use the platform for computer adaptive testing, for multi-stage adaptive testing, and for static form testing. So this platform has the capability of using a number of testing formats or testing designs to use in this oral language platform that we're using. It's mainly designed for oral proficiency interview assessments where there's one interviewer and one examinee, so it's a one-to-one oral interview, and it can also be used as a tool for observational assessments. For example, as in a classroom observation where you might be observing a learner in real-life context using language in a classroom, for example. The platform can be used on PCs, on Macs, and on tablets, currently on anything running iOS or Android platforms. And there's two main components to the CalTest platform. One is called the actual test platform, the other is called the web portal. The CalTest platform that you see here on the left, again, this can be used on tablets, on desktop computers, or on laptops. And this is for test administrators who are working one-on-one with examinees or who are doing the observational assessment, and they have that with them. In the picture here, you see a test question being presented, and along the bottom, there's the place where you enter scores. So you might push that on your tablet or click it with your mouse or enter it on your keypad to enter a score and then move on to the next item that pops up. On the right side, you have the web portal, and the web portal is mainly for testing coordinators. And this is for them to basically track test administrations as they're happening or after they've happened. So the CalTest platform has a number of capabilities. You can add test administration credits that your program has bought. You would add them into this platform to allow you to administer tests. You actually administer tests in the CalTest platform. You can retrieve score reports for any students you've tested using that machine. You can access practice tests for a test administrator to get comfortable using the test platform. And some really nice features of the test platform is that they automatically send score reports back to the web portal via the magic cloud method. And it also automatically downloads new test forms. So it seamlessly integrates new test forms that we are producing at Cal, and it pushes them down automatically into this new test platform. So from the user experience, new items and new test forms may be coming in, but you don't need to go through the rigmarole of downloading anything. It all happens automatically through the cloud. For the web portal, this is where your testing coordinators would log in to monitor test credits. So the test platform can be downloaded and used on a number of machines. So let's say your program has 10 test administrators. Each one has their own laptop or their own tablet that they're using to administer tests. Your testing coordinator can log into the web portal and see how many credits are downloaded or pulled down to each of those individual machines. They can monitor test administrator activity to see how many tests a given test administrator has given. And they can also download all of the score reports from their program or from a given administration period in order to download and look at those student scores. So our main idea for this time was actually to do a hands-on demo with you so that you can come up and actually use the CalTest platform and see how it works. We'll do one main demo up here on the screen for you just to get a feel of what it looks like to use the test platform. And then we have a tablet and a laptop up here for you to come try it out as well. So we'll run through the main one up here, and then we'll give you a chance to do some hands-on use of the platform. What's that? Oh yeah, okay, Jorge here will be my student, so we can demo how the test works. Okay, so I'm switching over to our test platform, and I'm using it here on my laptop. No?
This software, or and it was working.
Yeah, right now we don't want to do
Okay, so when you log into the test platform, basically your program will have its own ID, and each computer will have a unique ID that will register your personal machine that you're using. So once you log in, you're going to see this dashboard. And you'll see, oh, right. You'll see over here toward the top you have these different tiles that you can choose from. The first is a practice tile, which gives you, the test administrator, the option to run a few practice tests so that you're comfortable using the platform. You have the testing tile, which is where you actually administer a test. You have the administrations tile, and this is where you're pulling down administrations onto your computer so that you can run a given number of tests on your computer. You can see up here that for local administrations, which means on this given machine, I have 499 test credits, which I can use. So I could give 499 tests right now. And over here, total administrations, this is the number of administrations that are left up in the cloud that I could pull down if I needed. So if I use all 499 of my test credits today, I could click in and pull down the number of test credits that I need on my given machine. For a number of our tests, we also use print-based forms that accompany the computer version of the test. So you have the option to enter print-based scores in the case that you might need to enter, you might need to administer a print-based version instead of a computer-based version. One example of this might be for our Best Plus. It's used in many correctional facilities where computers or internet access are not allowed, and so they give a print-based version and then enter their scores to catalog them here and to be able to pull into aggregated student score reports through the portal. And finally, this last tile is to view any scores from student tests that you have administered on this machine. So I'll take you into the testing platform. I've preloaded 2 test administrators here. The first window is going to ask you to upload any test administrators who will be using this laptop. So you can add any other administrators. Maybe all 10 of your administrators at your program will be using one, so you could add them all here. I will continue as myself. And then it's going to ask you to upload any students that you're examining. So one option is to add students one by hand, maybe as you're testing them. That's one option. There's also an upload button down here in this bottom right corner where you can upload a CSV file of all of the students you know you're going to test in a given testing window. So maybe your program knows you're going to test 100 students. You can just upload that file here, and then they'll appear in the student list. So you can select a student. You can also select which class they're in. Maybe the student is taking your ESL 101 class, and the center that you're working for is the Franklin Adult Education Center. So you could also enter multiple classes or multiple test sites if that's relevant for your context. Okay, so when you hit the next button, now you're being taken directly into the test. You can see up here your test administrator name, and below that you have your test prompt and your actual test question. So here my prompt is, so if Jorge's my student, I'm going to ask him, I usually get my news from the newspaper. What about you?
I get the news from TV.
Okay, so I'm going to, as the test administrator, I'm listening to his response. I've memorized the rubric. I've been trained on the rubric that we're using, and I'm going to say that's a 213, which, if you're not a Best Plus user, that's meaningless to you at the moment. But
We can take a workshop. We'll help you out.
we can train you on the rubric. But I'm going to enter the score here and click Next. And if you're using, if the test is computer adaptive or a multi-stage adaptive form, it's going to automatically select items that are at the student's given proficiency level. So that's one really nice feature of this platform, is that it can use the multi-stage or computer adaptive design. For this demo version, we just have one static form with 3 items, so that's what we're going to show you, but it does have much more capability. So I've been given the next prompt to give to my student. Do you like to watch the news on TV?
Yes, I do.
Great. So I'm going to enter a score, and oh no, I've forgotten to give a score, and it's going to prompt me to say, would you want to finish scoring this question, or do you want to skip and go on to the next one? So this is a safeguard so that you don't move on to a next question without assigning a score to a student. I'm going to finish scoring this question. Okay, so the majority of test items that we use are just text-based, but we do have a number of picture-based items that we use, and so this would be one example. Up in the top corner, you'll see there's a prompt for me, the test administrator, to read, and then I'm going to show the picture to the student. I'll show you this feature in just a minute, and ask them the question to prompt them to elicit language. So for example, I as a test administrator would say, this picture shows a grocery store. And when I turn the laptop or the tablet toward the student, all they're going to see is the picture. And I would say, tell me what you see in the picture.
Potatoes, vegetables. I think they're doing some grocery shopping.
Okay. So after I turn the tablet or the computer back to me, I can exit out of this picture, and then I can assign a score. Okay. And this is the end of the test. Right now we have a slide uploaded to the administrator to acknowledge to the student that this has been the end of the test. And after this, you have a score report. Right now, just for demonstration purposes, this is a fake score report that is not giving you much information, but typically when these items are linked to a scale and when they're linked to a given difficulty, it's going to generate a scale score here for you. And in this section below, it will also give you any interpretations that you may need. So we link many of our tests to the CEFR, so you can have a reference point or an interpretation on the CEFR. And for our Best Plus, we also link to the NRS scales. So here at the end, you would have your score interpretation right away for your student's proficiency level. So once you've finished giving a test, down in the bottom right corner, maybe you're testing students back to back, you can go ahead and start a new test with your next student, or you can return back home to this dashboard. Should we do some Q&A and then demo?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we'd like to do some hands-on demo with you guys to have you come up and try it yourself. But maybe before that, we'll take any questions that you might have about the CalTest platform, which tests are used on it, how you might use this, or any other questions that you might have. What questions can we answer for you?
I'm sorry I came in right at the end of this, but I was just wondering, is this is this possible to use to prepare students for like TABE Class E?
That's a great question. Currently, this platform is being developed for the Best Plus, which is maybe a parallel test to the TABE Class E. So right now, we're using this for the Best Plus purposes to actually have those NRS reporting scores for your program.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, feel free to field questions.
I just had a question about, when you're marking the speaking, the teacher is using some judgment calls there. What do you do for moderation to make sure that students are being equally marked by different assessors? Is there like special programs, et cetera, that you deliver as professional development or things like that?
That's a great question. So for all of our tests that we have that are run on this platform, we do intensive rater training. And Jorge is one of our experts on this. He goes out to train test administrators on how to use the rating scale. We have, is it a full day?
Yes, it's a 6-hour workshop.
There's a 6-hour workshop that we use to train people on the rating scale, to run through rating scenarios, to practice using the platform and giving the test, and they have to pass a test in order to be able to rate using this. Another nice thing is that on the back end of this at Cal, we have the ability to monitor tests and test administrators and how tests are being administrated, how items are functioning, and so we have the capability to do statistical analyses and qualitative review of how our tests are functioning on the back end.
Just one more thing I would like to add in terms of ongoing and making sure, let's say 6 months down the line, are your raters still calibrated? We actually have a toolkit that they can use and practice, and you can also you will get the results, and you can also share with us, and we can give recommendations on how to improve and make sure that you're getting valid results from valid raters.
Any other questions? Hold on. Thank you.
Who are the typical users of this platform? Would it be like more adult ed or in other contexts?
So within the United States, it's 16 years old and up for an ESL, but for EFL, it's a little bit different context because we also have we have teachers and we also have students in primary, secondary levels.
Right, so currently the test is being used in Latin America with primary and secondary school students, and hopefully pretty soon we'll be transitioning to this platform to test teachers in Latin America as well. So there's a number, it's a pretty flexible, and since it's a test administrator giving the test, it's pretty flexible in which populations you can use it with.
What are the ranges of language levels that this can assess?
That's a great question. So it's dependent upon the items that you're inputting into the platform. So currently for the EPT student, we assess the A1 to B1 level. With our EPT teacher, we assess the A1 to B2 on the CEFR scale. And with on the NRS scale with the Best Plus, we assess 1 to 4.
For the best plus, which is the NRS.
1 to 4.
No, 1 to 6.
And on the NRS, we currently report levels 1 to 6. So we can assess on that level, although we can, Cal is capable, we often partner with organizations to develop tests for their needs, and we can harness this platform to develop tests and input items for specific needs that measure specific ranges that someone might need for their program, for their program needs, for their student needs. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, we'd love to have you come up if you'd like to try out the platform and do a demo. We have a laptop and a tablet set up for you to try. So feel free to come up and try it for yourself. Maybe this one, since it's...
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Either way, do you have a preference? Okay. Great. Okay. Jorge, you want to use this one?
Okay.
It's kind of doing two things at once there, so you gotta help me. Ready? Okay.
Sure thing. So you are going to, I would like you to be a test administrator.
Okay.
So you're going to practice giving another test. You're going to go to test.
Okay.
And for just purpose right now, your name is Laura. So you're going to
Okay.
click on Laura.
Okay.
So yeah, she could, yeah.
I'll
Try
be-
try it yourself.
Okay.
And then, so now, click on Laura, and then you're going to click on next.
So I click on Laura
Mhm.
and click on next.
And then we want to select a student. So it'll be the drop down.
Okay.
Well, this is for adding someone.
Okay. Sorry.
So once it's already been added,
Drop
you do-
down.
Mhm. And then I'll be Carlos. My name is
Okay.
Carlos.
Hi, Carlos.
Hello.
And you are in my.
100.
Are you in my 100 class? Okay. And where are we?
Franklin.
Okay. And where's that?
So, well, not yet. The test hasn't started. So then we want to go to next.
Okay. Next.
So in a typical administration, you would actually, when a student a candidate for the testing comes in, you would greet them and you would invite them to sit down and explain to them we'll be doing a face-to-face English test, and that you want to just assess their level so
Okay.
that you can place them in your school
Okay.
and know where to put them in an English class.
Okay. Great.
So once we've sat down, we've had the greeting,
Okay.
then you can go ahead and you'll read the top, so go ahead.
And what do I do for a blank? Do I turn to you or do I?
So that's a great question. So during the blank, you have some sample answers that you could use,
Okay.
but the blank is to give you an idea of, you can put so maybe here in TESOL Chicago, it's a very digital literate area that you actually get information from the news app or something. So
Yeah.
you can actually use that
Okay.
because it's the population that you're living in as an authentic question.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. Carlos, I usually get the news online. What about you?
Newspaper. So in that situation, I understood your question, so that would be a 2.
A 2. Okay.
I did say one word answer, that's not too complex, so we're going to give that a 1. And did you understand what I was did I say?
Everything, yes.
Everything, so let's give that a 3.
3. So it's judgmental. I choose what it is, or is it based on calibrated? Up?
It is, we do have a rubric,
Okay.
and the rubric, if you're ever in doubt, you have to reference it
Okay.
so that, it's very clearly outlined and simplified to the fact that you heard the answer, and then you can go through the rubric and then choose the correct
Okay.
scoring.
Great. So we go to next.
Mhm.
Carlos, do you like to watch the news on TV?
Yes.
He's pretty good.
Thank you, thank you.
So I'd say you listened well.
Yes.
Okay. I'd say your complexity is pretty low.
That was yes, because I had a one-word answer.
So
and
1?
That would be a 1. Yeah.
Okay. And I'd say you communicate effectively, though.
Well,
That's
yes,
my
you
judge.
understood. You understood
Right.
correctly everything I said.
Right.
So yeah, it would be a 3 as well.
It would. Okay, great. So that's again where the rubric would really come in handy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
Right. So you would read what is. Go ahead and read it.
Carlos, this picture shows a grocery store. What do you see in the picture?
So right there is a prompt. So you can actually, and you didn't know this, but you click on the picture and it
Okay.
actually makes it bigger.
Okay.
And then you remember what the question was.
I
What
do.
do you see in this picture?
Yeah.
So click on the picture, and at this point you let me see the image, and
Okay.
then go ahead and ask me.
So what do you see in the picture, Carlos?
I see a mother, daughter, and they're shopping.
Okay.
And you can click back onto the picture, and it'll go back to your original screen.
Or can I close it?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I would say you listened well.
Yes.
I would say your language complexity is about a 2 or a 3.
Oh no, it was very simple.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
it would still be a 1.
A 1? Okay. It was better than yes, though.
Oh yes, that is correct. But even native speakers say yes. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And your communication was, I'd give it a 1 or a 2.
Well, did you understand everything? Did you have
I
any
did.
doubts?
I didn't.
So it'll be a 3.
A 3. Okay, so this is where I need the rubric, so that's good.
There you go.
Okay, great. Okay, this is really easy. So finish scoring this question. You
So-
have not completed scoring this.
Oh, so maybe we missed one out
Oh,
here.
okay, good. Okay, that was my fault. So I thought I'd put a 2. That's good. So when you make a mistake, it does help you to go back.
It is, yes. It does help in making any human errors.
Okay, we're almost finished.
Well, no, this is actually, so, okay, we are finished. Thank
Oh,
you
we are
very
finished.
much.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you, Carlos.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, easy.
And then at the end, you would have the score reports, and then you can save this, print out for any reporting needs you have, because many programs are state or grant funded, and you can show your significant gains that your students have progressed. Because this was the initial intake, and then you would do a post test to see how they've developed in their English proficiency. So, yeah. Yeah. So, if you have any questions in terms of getting more information, you can always send an email to aea@cal.org. We're always here to help not just state programs implement this, but also program administrators on how to teach their faculty on how to give the test, and also support the teachers themselves on what are the, how to use this to get an understanding of the level of the student's ability and how they can use this more confidently in their own test administrations. Sure.
I'm familiar with Cal, so can you tell us where your booth is, if anybody is interested in going to it? Because I know you have a ton of resources.
Absolutely, yes. So our our number is going to be 421, and is when you enter the convention, it's going to be just walking a little bit and keep looking to your left. Yeah. Thank you very much, and enjoy your TESOL experience.